knowledge, al-ilm al-nafi', beneficial knowledge, is that which reflects on who you are.
When we go back to Philippians again, it says he limited himself, became man. He became man. So
Can the infinite become finite?
he emptied himself.
Yeah, but George, I'm sorry.
I know.
But look, to be Jesus Christ, you have to have the two natures. Otherwise, it would have been just the same like myself and your good self. So he had to have the two natures. Remember, I said to you, one who with two whats.
Yes.
Okay? So the two whats, we have got the divine and the human. That divine, either he wants it or he's got the aseity that he has got certain attributes that he cannot do without them.
Yes.
He cannot do without them. So it's either he lied or he is not God. And it's a very important point.
Yes.
That the Christians need to think about.
When we go back to Philippians again, it says he limited himself, became man. He became man. So there must
Can the infinite become finite?
he emptied himself.
Yeah,
Yes.
but George, I'm sorry.
I know.
But look, to be Jesus Christ, you have to have the two natures. Otherwise, it would have been just the same like myself and your good self. So he had to have the two natures. Remember, I said to you, one who with two whats.
Yes.
Okay? So the two whats, we have got the divine and the human.
Yes.
So that divine is not gonna, either he wants it or he's got the aseity that he has got certain attributes that he cannot do without them.
Yes.
He cannot do without them. So it's either he lied or he is not God. And it's a very important point.
Yes.
That the Christians need to think about.
Well, listen. So then, it's like this, yeah? So, Jesus is God. What do you mean by God? What do you mean by God? What is God? Your God, the way you look at it, or the Muslim, is there's one God, one uncreated energy, one creator is up there and looking at us or whatever, yeah? That's very simple, easy to understand, very rational, isn't it? And it makes sense. But the God here, when you mention God here, is not like that. Because God is revealed through love, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Look, for example, Genesis. Look through the Theophanies when God was walking in the garden with Adam and Eve. Look at when he appeared to Abraham. Look when he spoke to Moses from the bush fire. So God there means different from what you think God. So the God.
Look, I agree with you. Look, let me tell you one thing. I agree with you that God spoke to Moses.
Yes.
And he spoke, and all Moses saw, he saw a fire. I agree with you. I agree with you.
How did you do that?
Well, but what did God say to Moses?
No.
Didn't he say to him,
How did he do that?
you can't see me, for whoever see me cannot live.
Okay.
No one has seen me and lived.
Yes.
So we know that you cannot see God.
Okay, 1 minute. So, like for example, in what form was God and he was speaking to Moses?
Well, we don't know. All Moses saw is a fire. Well, God can't be a fire. No, God can't be a fire.
How do you know?
It's not. Look.
How do you know what God did?
Let me tell you. If God was that fire, yeah, and we know that God told Moses that if you see me, no one saw me, no one can see me and live.
Yeah.
So if that fire was God, would Moses be alive?
Did Moses die? Yes.
No, he didn't die.
He died.
When?
Is he alive now?
Well, no. At that moment.
He didn't see God face to face.
Well, he saw a fire, so that fire can't be God.
Well,
I'll tell you why.
Can it? For example, when God spoke to Abraham, he appeared to Abraham. How did he appear?
Well, let me tell you one thing. I'll get you a verse from Isaiah, whereby God says, like we have got in the Quran. You know, in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ, and there is nothing like unto him. Yeah? But he is the all-hearing, the all-seeing. Now Isaiah says that there is nothing likened unto me. So there is nothing likened to me. And in here another thing. When he says that the heavens are not enough for his dwelling, and that the earth is his footstool. Okay? So how come this God?
But then what does it say in Philippines? He emptied himself and become man.
Who?
God.
Which
So
God? The Father?
exactly.
The Father?
The Son.
And this is the we're
Christ.
talking about. My Father is greater than I. My Father is. Look, George. No, I'll just finish this point. As far as I'm concerned, I take Jesus any day rather than Paul. I take Jesus any day. So for me, I believe what Jesus says. I don't believe what Paul says. Look, I have Paul, and I have Jesus. Know what I'm saying?
So you say to me, Paul said this and this.
No.
And then and you use it as an argument,
because
and then after you say you don't believe what Paul says.
No, but look, please, yeah. You know what I'm telling you this. Thanks very much, George.
Pull it out.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks very much. Have you got one too?
Yeah, don't worry.
Listen, you know why I'm telling you this? When you represent me with a statement from Jesus, I have to accept.
Why?
Why? Oh, you can't compare Jesus to Paul, please.
Look, we're going to go on another subject, but
but this is between us. This is between us.
No, it's because we're going to go on another subject.
No, but I'm not. This is like, but look, this is an offshoot, yeah. But just I'm telling you a personal opinion of mine. I'll take Jesus' statement over Paul's statement.
Why, please, sir?
Because Jesus is a man of God.
But is Paul not the man of God?
No, he's not.
Okay, so now we're going to go on to another subject slightly. Shall we talk about that?
Yeah, if you want.
Did Paul... See, I don't want to...
No, please, go ahead.
I don't want to compare to the Prophet Muhammad because it's going to be like sound rude and I don't like to...
No, we're not going to compare him to
for
Prophet
example, Paul, what did he have to gain by... first of all, okay, let's talk about Paul then, yeah? Nicely. So Paul.
You want my opinion on Paul?
No, you're going to let me talk and then
No, please, go ahead.
Because you said you won't take what Paul says.
No, I said no. Please look at my statement.
Yeah.
I said if you present me with two statements, one statement you tell me Jesus, peace be upon him, said, and another statement Paul said, I will go with what Jesus said. That's all I'm saying.
All right. But
and I believe you would do the same thing.
No, I believe they are both divine. Not Paul's divine, but I believe it's from the scriptures. It's Paul. What Paul says, what the apostles say, and what everything is said in the Bible is from God. So whatever they say, for me is.
But you know, the apostles had problems with him. Barnabas, that was with him, left him. Peter used to had problems with him. James, you know that they had problems with him. He went to the Gentiles against Jesus. Jesus said, he said to the apostles, and do not go to the Gentiles. What did Paul do? He went to the Gentiles. Yeah. James, when he established the first church, he did not go to the Gentiles.
So let's start from the beginning then. So with Paul, he had the vision, experience on the way to Damascus. You agreed before, Paul was against the Christians.
Yes.
He was against Jesus.
Yes, absolutely.
Very seriously.
Absolutely. He was going to. You see, a lot of historians, they doubt his. And I'm not talking about Bart Ehrman, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about Bart Ehrman, but there are others that they doubt his Jewishness. That he because the reason why he was not keeping the law. Yeah. And at that time, there was no Jew that wouldn't be keeping the law, especially if he was a Pharisee.
One minute. He was against Jesus, we agree?
Yes, we agree on that.
He was against the Christians.
Torturing, killing, and all sorts.
And he was against them to the point he was doing violence against them, whatever.
Yes, he did, torture and kill.
When he was on the way to Damascus, what happened now?
Okay. Was he going on his own? Yes. What happened to him? He said 3 years later on that he had the vision. 3 years after the ascension of Jesus, peace be upon him, that he had the vision. Yeah?
Right.
I go by the scriptures.
And what
I go by the scriptures.
Okay,
The
so-
scriptures tell us that you need 3 witnesses.
Okay.
Three witnesses.
Read that. What happened now? Sorry, you don't mind to read that? What
Which
happened
one?
now? On his way to Damascus.
He said that he had the vision that he saw
had the
Christ.
vision,
Yeah.
and
That's what he
heard-
said.
And he heard Jesus speak
Yes,
to him, yeah?
yes, yeah.
So there were other people there with him as well. And
But nobody's seen it.
No.
Only
but-
him.
But they heard. They
Only
heard.
him.
No, what it says is they heard and he heard, but the vision was only shown to Paul. But they heard as well. They heard Jesus speak as well.
I'm sorry. I'm not gonna lie.
You're not
No,
sure.
no,
You're
I'm not
sure.
gonna lie. I don't know about they heard, but what I know, that he was on his own
Okay.
about the vision, but the voice, I cannot comment on that because
That's fair enough.
I don't know.
But if you look and read that point,
I will look it up. I will look
you'll
it up.
see that others heard as well. So if, I think it was number 2. So if there's 3 of us, we all heard, but the vision was only given to Paul. You can't say all 3 of them now, they were misled.
Say the Shahada, it's very easy. Say Ashhadu
Ashhadu
Allah
Allah
ilaha
ilaha
illallah.
no.
He's coming, inshallah, he's
What are
coming.
you on about?
He's coming, inshallah,
They're
he's
not
coming.
Christians, Allah.
When
Sorry to interrupt, by
No,
the way.
no, it's okay.
No, it's okay.
When Paul was on the vision, they had the vision. There was another 2 people with him, wasn't it?
There were a few people with him, yeah.
And
But
they
they all
had-
gave different accounts.
Jesus, 1 minute.
That's what I
Hang on
know.
there. Yeah, 1 minute. Different accounts can mean different perspectives. Stop. You're over there. I'm over here. There is an accident in the middle. I sit from my way. He sees it from his way. So we're not going to have exactly. Leave that for 1 second.
No, I
Did that-
actually disagree with that.
Okay.
If somebody says
Sorry.
that
No,
Okay.
of course.
if someone says I saw a blinding light,
Hashim,
Hashim heard a voice.
Hashim,
That's a complete.
Hashim, come this
Yeah, no,
way.
it's okay. I don't want to interrupt, but
No, Hashim, it's not a problem.
I've
It's
had,
not a
like,
problem.
I
wanna
had
barbecue
back-to-back
you.
discussions already.
I want to barbecue you,
I
brother. No, okay, look. Okay. So, it doesn't mean the light didn't happen.
No,
because you
if-
didn't
if
see.
you see
At
something-
that moment, you was looking on the floor, maybe.
If you see something significant like a blinding light, okay, even if you're looking at the floor, a blinding light would be pretty obvious, right?
Okay, but in Paul's case, just quickly,
Paul is a liar.
They all-
That's
wait
it.
a minute, wait a
End
minute.
of story.
I don't know.
Anyway, the Sheikh will take care of you.
You see?
I need to
You're
go.
running away now.
Yeah.
You're running away. You see, he won't let me
Are we going? Not yet, Hashim.
We'll finish this one point. but
Yeah,
we'll take
please.
back because of
Yes,
the
yeah.
wife.
No, please. Yeah, go ahead.
So Paul, he says, they heard
Okay.
Jesus speak. Why are you persecuting me? All of them heard. So you can't say all of them made the mistake, but it was only visual to Paul. Okay. So I can't say. Plus, all of a sudden, or after, what changed Paul? And he becomes so opposite. What made him change and become so opposite? And he started to believe. He believed and will lay his life for Jesus. Just on that experience.
I
it
tell
tells
you,
me
you
it
want
was
my
genuine.
you want my
On
my
that
opinion?
point, yeah, on
My
that point.
opinion,
Just on
quickly.
that
It's a quick one, and then you can have the floor again. Okay. My opinion that Christianity at the time, well, it wasn't called Christianity at the time, if you know. It was still Judaism, yeah? But it was a different way of Judaism.
Yes.
So it was the apocalyptic one, not the Hellenistic one. So what was happening then? Paul knew, or Saul at the time, as he was his name, knew that he cannot defeat them now. They were everywhere, especially in Caesarea, especially in Alexandria, and even in Rome. So what did he do? He thought, join them and destroy them from within. That's my opinion. Because what he did, as soon as he joined, he abolished circumcision. Pig was disallowed. He made it allowed. Or the Sabbath, you don't have to keep the Sabbath. He started preaching to the Gentiles. Everything that Jesus preached, he went against it. That's why Barnabas fell out with him. That's why Peter fell out with him. That's why James hated him. You know that they used to have problems that when Paul used to be with the Gentiles, James would not allow any of the apostles to go with him. But this is my opinion of him.
Okay.
But before you go, let's see one thing. Let's look at Matthew 26:53. Okay, these are writers of the gospel, the canonical gospel. Matthew says, "Do you think I cannot call on my Father, and he will at once put at my disposal more than 12 legions of angels?"
Who said this?
Jesus. This is Matthew 26:53. Okay? Now, my question is this. If Jesus was God, if he was God, does he need the Father to put at his disposal 2 legions of angels? Why couldn't he just command the angels himself? He is God after all.
So what was the purpose of him saying this? That's the point you should ask. Why did he say this? Because he's fulfilling the scriptures.
No.
Because
Look.
it was
It's not about the
prophesied.
fulfillment.
It was prophesying.
I know, but it's not the fulfillment I'm talking about. What I'm saying is the wording. Look, he could have been fulfilling the prophecy, but he could have said, if I want, I would have put at my disposal 2 legions of angels. But instead of that, he said, if I want, I would ask my Father to put at my disposal, which means that he has got no control over the creation, that he depends on the Father.
Yes.
And that's no, regardless of the fulfillment. Regardless of the fulfillment of the prophecy. And go ahead now.
That's why Jesus came down. He was subordinate to the Father in role, and he had to keep that role like this as man for humans, for mankind. His role, he reduced himself to become man, and the role was, that's why I had to follow the will of the Father. So that's why he spoke like this, and he spoke as a human being. Look, if he wanted to, can do anything, but his role, he knows where his role is and how to handle that point. Like, for example, he walked on the water, he healed the blind, he did many other things.
Yeah, but with which will?
The Father's will, yeah.
The Father's will.
Yeah.
So as Jesus, he cannot do anything. And this is, look, from the Islamic narrative, we agree with you. You see, from the Islamic narrative, we have no problem with you. We say, sorry, go ahead.
No. Because what you're doing, you're jumping from one thing to
No,
another.
I'm just, no. Just the point that you mentioned. Just the point you mentioned, George.
We're talking about Paul here. And I asked you, because we keep jumping, we can go...
Sorry, no, sorry. I've answered you regarding Paul. That's why sorry, go ahead.
Drilling into many things. I can drill into this.
No. Let's stick to one subject. Look, let's stick to one subject, yeah.
With Paul, I asked you, what happened to him? As soon as he was a persecutor of Jesus, he changed completely. Completely the opposite. Only after what happened to him on Damascus, on the way to Damascus. So what happened? Something happened now, which tells me this is true revelation from God.
I told you my opinion, and I'm not going to change it. I believe that Paul...
Why did he change?
Look.
But you're saying to me, he was against the Jews, and he thought he'd go to attack the Jews.
No. The Christians, not against the Jews. I said to you, he saw that Christianity started because look, James had a great congregation in Jerusalem. Yeah. We know his church. We know that Peter was doing well. Yeah. We know that the other apostles, they were doing well. Yeah. So comes Paul and starts preaching to the Gentiles against Jesus' commands. Jesus told them, go, but do not go to the Gentiles. He did say that specifically. That's a command. You know, you know, from a theologian point of view, if Jesus commands something, we have to say, we hear and obey. We hear and obey. But for Jesus to command one thing and for Paul to come and do the opposite of what Jesus said.
You have to show me the verses. What did Jesus say to him and he did which he should?
No, to him. Because Jesus have never met him. He said that to the bear with me please and I shall bring it for you, yeah? But you can talk to me while you can go ahead, yeah? I'm listening to you.
It's very simple. Something happened to Paul on the way to Damascus. Many people say, oh, it was just a vision, it's just a psychological experience, but no, because it's very clear on that verse. There were others there and they heard Jesus speak. But the vision of Jesus, it was only kept for Paul. Thereafter, we only see thereafter, Paul completely changed, not persecuting Jesus anymore. So then we see Paul, getting into disputes, of course, with the others. But there was a time of, how can you say, there was a bit of time, entering time there, where some were talking to the Jews, some were talking to the Gentiles, others were talking to the Greeks.
Yeah.
So their approach was different.
I've got the verse, by the way.
Yeah,
I've got the verse.
But Paul, okay, there's prophecy in there, there's prophecies in there, right back from in the Old Testament, that the Jews, it's very important, let me go slowly here, so I get it correct, the Royal Priesthood, it was from Aaron, Moses' brother, and he carried on the Holy Priesthood through the priest and it carried on through. And God was very specific how he wanted
Samaritans, that's what we call the Samaritans now.
The way they wanted him to be worshipped.
Yeah.
The holy altar and how to carve this and how to carve.
Yes,
it wasn't idolatry. So this is how God wanted it. So this is how it carried on. But he said the Jews will reject God and his commandments, which they did.
And they worship the calf.
And they worship the calf. But it would carry on and be given to the Gentiles. So them Gentiles is where Paul is going and talking about. That's why...
But I can tell you that the Gentiles are the Arabs.
Let me finish. No, and I'll tell you why, respectfully. Because that royal priesthood is still carrying on till today.
Well, no, the Ishmaelite took it. The Ishmaelite took it.
No. The Eastern Orthodox.
Salam alaikum.
The Eastern Orthodox Christians.
I'm going.
Okay.
See you later.
See you inshallah next week. Yeah, inshallah.
Those Eastern Orthodox Christians up to today, through the Holy Communion, through the candles, through the sacraments, through the altar, all this is still carrying on the same, exactly how they dress and the liturgy. All this is still exactly the same from the Old Testament times up to today.
Shall we bring Jesus into it?
Well, yeah, we're going to do this. Let me finish.
Yeah, please. Yeah,
nor
sorry.
The Muslims, nor the Roman Catholics.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Nor the Protestants.
Okay.
And they carry on. And this is what Paul was saying. Now, Paul was saying, look to the other apostles. We don't need to. They were talking to the Jews. He was talking to the Gentiles. Now we don't need to be. We're not under the law now. We're under grace. We don't need to be circumcised. We can eat what we want. We don't have to have restrictions on all these dietary laws. We are no longer under the Old Testament laws and dietary laws. Now it's through grace. You see? And that's why. And there was a transition period. That's what I want to transition period.
Yeah.
Where Paul was talking with the others, and this is where there was some misunderstanding, which is natural to happen as well.
No problem.
And this is what happened, this whole story there.
No problem.
Carry on.
But I will take you to Matthew. No, please stay there. I want to take you to Matthew 10, chapter 10, 5 to 8.
Come closer. No, there. No, go back. That's it. Come together.
Ah, okay. So, King James Version, yeah?
Yeah.
These 12 Jesus sent out and commanded them, saying,
Yeah.
So this is Jesus talking.
Yeah.
Do not go into the way of the Gentiles, and do not enter a city of the Samaritans, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Yeah.
And as you go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
Yeah.
Now, a clear...
Don't worry.
So, thank you. So, commanded them. Now, you know, when I read, I always look at the terminology,
It's a very good
because
point,
terminology is, he says,
Do not go the way of the
no, but it's
Gentiles.
not just commanded them. You see, because in our theology, a command is a must to do thing. Otherwise, you are sinful if you don't carry the
Because
command.
you are not following the will of God.
That's what I mean. And if Jesus is God and he gives a command, now Jesus is God, he gives a command to all, to the 12. So it's the disciples, the 12 disciples. He tells them, do not go into the way of the Gentiles, and do not enter a city of even the Samaritans, who are Jews themselves. Yeah. And by the way, the Samaritans are the descendants of Aaron, the Pentateuch. Until now, they still have the Pentateuch in the old. And do not enter the city of the Samaritans, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as you go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Now, this commanded them is a key word.
Okay, so let's stop. Thank you. So now,
You're welcome.
the Gentiles, what were they? They were all like pagans.
They were non-Jews. Look, they were non-Jews.
They were not
Non-Jews.
Jews, but believing in other things.
Yeah, they even had the Trinity themselves.
No, they never had Trinity.
They did. I can look.
Okay, before we go on to that, let's finish my point.
Okay,
here.
yeah, please.
So the Gentiles,
And we're not going to go in there, by the way. We're going to stick to our subject.
whatever you say, yeah, but the Gentiles there, they were believing in other gods. So what he's saying here, don't go the way of the Gentiles. Paul wasn't going the way of the Gentiles.
No. Into the way of the Gentiles, and do not enter a city of the Samaritan. But look, this explains it. What comes after it explains it. But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Yes.
So in here, it's not like, I understand what you're trying to say. You're trying to say, like, do not go the way of the Gentile, meaning do not worship other deities like they do.
So that's
but
correct.
But the other verse explains it.
Okay, slowly.
Okay,
so
yeah.
that one we agree.
Okay.
Paul didn't go the way of the Gentiles in the sense of
Neither did the disciples.
worshipping,
Neither did the disciples.
Right. So up to there is correct. They
Okay.
were following the steps. Then he says, and
But
do not
go,
enter a
yeah,
city of the
Samaritans.
Yeah. So what's that part mean to you? But rather go to the lost
But go
sheep
rather
of
to
the house of
Israel.
So the lost sheep of the
house of
are
Israel.
the Jews.
who are not keeping the commandment
Yeah.
of the
So why is he saying to them, but go to the sheep?
because they are people that
Why did Jesus say to them, go to the lost sheep?
to
Why?
the lost sheep?
Why?
Well, I'll tell you why. You remember the Canaanite woman?
Yeah.
When she asked him she said, "Oh, good master, my daughter is this." He said to her, "Go away, woman, for I came for the lost sheep of Israel, the house of Israel."
Yeah.
So he's asking them to do the same thing because they were at that time people. He was an apocalyptic prophet. He was like what's his name? John the Baptist, peace be upon him too.
Yeah.
What he came preaching the kingdom of God, the hereafter, the paradise, the day of judgment, the resurrection. That's what he was preaching. That's the same preaching. So he was. Now there were people at the time, Jews at the time, that they have left the messianic laws.
Yeah.
And they started going the way of the pagans, for example.
Yes, yeah.
So, like the Hellenistic Jews, for example, Philo of Alexandria, Flavius Josephus, all of them, both of them Hellenistic Jews, and there were so many in Greek and in Alexandria and in other places.
I agree, but
So in here, it is a clear command not to go to the Gentiles, but only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Meaning, even the Jews that are following the commandments, the Torah, don't go to them. That's why he told them, and don't enter the city of the Samaritans. Why? Because the Samaritans are the descendants of Aaron, and they were people of the scriptures. So they had no problems.
Very subtle. This is very, very subtle things in here. And again, my opinion, respectfully, interpreting it differently. Paul was not going the way of the Gentiles. He was going to the Gentiles and giving them the good news. So, the lost sheep of Israel are the Jews, but it's also all the Gentiles. It's all about those who don't follow the true good news in Jesus and what's happening. So Paul was speaking to them, but that's what it simply means.
Look, in here it says, let's get rid of this. In here it says, Matthew 10, the message, all right? So in here it's making it plain English and explaining it at the same time. Jesus sent his 12 harvests, meaning disciples, hands out with this charge. Don't begin by traveling to some far-off place to convert unbelievers, okay? And do not try to be dramatic by tackling some public enemy. Go to the lost, confused people right here in the neighborhood. Tell them that the kingdom is here. Bring health to the sick, raise the dead, touch the untouchables, kick out the demons. You have been treated generously, so live generously. So this is what the message, this is the Bible, the message. In here, these 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles. And that's what we read before. Let's see something else. American Standard Bible, these 12 Jesus sent out after instructing them. You see, commanded them, instructing them. Very strong words. Do not go in the way of the Gentiles, and do not enter any city of the Samaritans, but rather go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as you go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is here, heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse, all of that.
So
Again, in here, order, you see, instruct, command, order. All of these are very strong terminology. That he's telling them, do not preach to the unbelievers, because the Gentiles were unbelievers. Do not go to them, but rather go to the lost sheep of Israel. Why did Paul come and kind of like deviated from the message of Jesus Christ?
He actually gave the message of the good news of Jesus Christ.
Well, I'm afraid Peter didn't agree with him. Look, Barnabas left him. Peter didn't agree with him. James had problems with him. He was Paul on his own. All of the others didn't agree with Paul.
No.
Give me one disciple, please, that agreed with him. One disciple that agreed with him.
I'll tell you. For example, Barnabas. Where did he go at the end? There's a more thing. This is beautiful, yeah? Exactly. Very good. Very good. You pick some point and then you say, this is what happened, not like this and this. But it's a lot more deeper than this. According to what you're saying there, they can't preach anywhere, only in the neighborhood there, yeah? From what you've read there.
Meaning the Jews.
Which means no one in the world will know nothing then. It's just the Jews there. That's it.
But what he say to them,
But
go,
Barnabas,
but do not enter. What he means by the
let me get
thank you very much. Please, just somewhere here, please.
Like this?
Whatever way. Just it needs to. Thank you.
So what you're saying here, let me tell you.
Yeah.
For example, look at this. These are very detailed things and need a lot of historical context, a lot of explaining to do. And I don't claim I know all this.
No, I understand.
Very good points and very good. You help me to learn more. Yeah. But humbly, I say this. But look at Barnabas. Barnabas, where did he end up? Barnabas.
Barnabas?
Barnabas.
Okay, yeah.
He ended up in going to Cyprus.
Yeah, I know.
Did Paul go to Cyprus?
I know,
All
but
the
look,
churches there,
but look.
Eastern Orthodox.
Did you know?
They must be preaching
Have you read the Gospel of Barnabas?
What's the date of the manuscript? I think the date of the manuscript
It was
is too late.
no.
The
Look,
Gospel of Barnabas is the Epistle of Barnabas is one thing. The Gospel of Barnabas is another.
Look,
so we have to be careful.
Okay, Look,
you have to know the date.
let me tell you one thing. You know that it was that they dug some grave and they found Barnabas, the body of Barnabas, and they found it on him. Now what it was, it ended up in Vienna. In Vienna with the it ended up there, and then but a copy of it was in the Vatican. Then it was stolen from the Vatican, and then it was brought to England here, and it was translated into English. And guess what? It disappeared.
Yeah.
It disappeared. But we have got the Italian one, and in there we know that Barnabas doesn't talk about Jesus as being God, but he exactly says, "Thank you." All right.
Sorry.
Yeah, akhi, go. No problem. Go ahead. So, but we know that Barnabas, in the epistle, whatever you want to say, the epistle or the gospel, it was a problem. They found it difficult to canonize it, because the reason why, because Barnabas in there does not agree that Jesus was God, but he saw him, as Peter said, a man from God. A man from God.
Okay.
That's what. And you know, by the way, this. If I am now to put of God, how many times of God was mentioned in the New Testament? Guess how many times?
I don't know.
Over 500 times.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. But guess what?
And what does that
Jesus. No, it's saying the wrath of God, the bread of God, the way of God. All of this of God, but it never said God. God. You see, of God.
Yeah.
Of God. But the important thing, this kind of the Trinity, yeah, that's what we were speaking about. And then we moved to Paul. But as I say to you, we have to look at the scripture, and you agreed with me to it, as a whole. Old Testament, New Testament, we can go to Revelation, Acts, all of that.
Sorry, may I say one little point there?
Please, yeah, go ahead.
Not only do we have to go from the Old Testament and the New Testament and look at the whole thing,
Yes.
the whole plan, the
Yes.
whole pattern,
Yeah.
and the whole message,
Yes.
is the prophecies. Please let me finish the hair.
No, I'm not gonna.
You
I'm
have
not
to look
speaking.
at
I'm
all
not
the
speaking.
prophecies, and you can pinpoint one prophecy, this prophecy, oh, this doesn't mean this, or this doesn't mean. We also have to look at the behavior, the psychological behavior. We have to look at also the Theophanies. Theophanies is,
Yes,
what
I
does
understand.
Please just tell me quickly, what does theophany mean to you?
Well, we know that
Please,
Theo
sir,
is
tell me.
Theo it means God, and it's but it's
No.
a term. Hang on.
gonna
It's a
keep you
term.
there.
Yeah, it's
What
a
does
term
it mean
used.
to you?
It's a term used by only the Orthodox and the Catholic and the
Sorry,
Catholics.
Yeah, hang in there. Please, I'm going to finish. I have to finish.
Okay,
here.
yeah.
What does theophanies mean?
You tell me what it means. Please.
That's all. It's not testing.
No, it's not.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
theophanies is a Greek word. Theo.
Theo's
phonies,
God, yeah.
Appearing to.
Yeah.
So it's God appearing to. So you have to look at the list of theophanies. Go in AI chat. Ask. List all the theophanies in the Old Testament and New Testament. We have to look at that. We have to look at the prophecies, as I said to you, the psychology, the pattern, the plan, the covenants. So important, the covenants from the Old Testament, the New, the liturgy, and how it carried on. These are very big. But not only all this, then we have to look at what happened after. We have to look at the resurrection. We have to look at the eyewitnesses. How do we know they're eyewitnesses? 2 Corinthians 15. Have a look. There's so many. Paul, he says, he's even saying, there are eyewitnesses. These are eyewitnesses. There's proof. This is the proof. You know of this. This is what happened. This is what happened. The big thing. Please let me finish, please. Yeah. So, not pinpoint on one little verse it means like this, or the one little verse like this. Look at the whole picture. Then look at the apostles, the martyrs. What did they see? It's not, I am willing to die a martyr's death of what I saw. If I'm lying, I wouldn't want to die a martyr's death if I knew I saw something and I'm going to lie and I'm going to die for that. No. So something serious happened now. So we have to look at all this. There are many things to look at, you see. Now then. So it's not just the Bible itself, and then it's the church. And then what happened now? The apostles, the early church fathers, the first 100 years. And then the manuscripts, and that was spread. Please let me nearly finish now.
Yeah.
The manuscripts.
Yeah, we're gonna finish. Yeah, we're gonna finish, brother. Yeah.
Well, there's a manuscripts. There's so much. We're going to take
Listen,
this another
George,
time. But
another
you raised
time,
very
yeah.
good points.
It's no
And
problem.
we're going to have a God bless you.
You too, yeah. And may God guide you to the right path.
To
You
cover
know?
us. The one thing we must be careful.
أخي بارك الله فيك سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. Brothers.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell to keep you updated with the latest videos.